Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, bitches.
Buy our merch indeed.
Don't you want a signed shirt? We'll sign it for you. Also, for timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. We've got it's getting a little spicy over there, and
it is,
and we're going to be having some guests on in the very near future that will probably interest many of you. Who knows?
You will like it for sure.
For sure. Having said that, this is what's the name of this band?
I don't know. This lighting's a little.
The lighting was fine until you ruined it. Die Alone is the name of the song. Light the Torch is the name of the band.
Oh, yes, and this is for the big homie Justin.
This is for the big homie Justin. This Killswitch Engage has had 2 singers at least. This guy, it's Howard Jones. He was the guy that you didn't see him when we went live. The original singer took over. He took his old spot.
He was the one dressed up in the face that looked like the other guy?
No, that was a guitarist.
Oh.
The guitarist is a funny guy, but...
Wait, you remember what I'm talking about? He dressed up in the guy that had died?
Oh, no. That was the Static X show. That was a different show.
I keep getting them confused every single time.
We went to there were a lot of bands that year that we saw, because we kept getting invited to these festivals and stuff.
Yeah,
okay, guys.
Fun.
Light the Torch, Die Alone is the name of the song. We got the lyrics up. Here we go, guys. Die Alone, Light the Torch, let's go. Okay. Old school metal type riff.
And every day I curse the sunrise. There's nothing in the shadows, and you will be the one to die alone. Forgive me when I fall, and I will be the one to die alone.
Oh man, this. Shout out to Justin. Holy moly. Wow. Right out the gate.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like a Killswitch Engage song. Well, this is not Killswitch Engage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like, I think this band is kind of at a disadvantage to a degree because of Howard. Because vocally, I mean, it sounds like, I'll play you a Killswitch Engage song later, but he has such a distinct voice. It's kind of like if Maynard, I'm not comparing him to Maynard, but if Maynard went to another band, like for example, the first time I heard Perfect Circle, I was like, oh, it's a new Tool joint. It's not that bad. Like, I immediately thought it was Tool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Although, stylistically, Tool and APC are not the same band at all, but it's just Maynard is such a powerful, distinctive presence that...
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I kind of feel for this band a little bit because it's like... I'm gonna be like, oh, you sound like Killswitch Engage, but they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's a little hard for them to sound different because his voice is so distinct. I mean, that makes sense.
But even like structurally, like the way the song is and guitar wise, and some of the breaks and the decisions that they make, like, sound very. I mean, obviously they were influenced by Killswitch Engage. Obviously,
how could they not be?
Like old Killswitch Engage, right. But, you know, as Pastor Muppets is saying, but Howard's scream and just vocally, he's just epic. So how could you really not? Is. How could you not like feature him and center him in the song? So it's one of those things where, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because if they didn't, I'd be like, holy shit, Howard has one of the best voices. Why did you feature? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
so
100%.
It's just, what did you think the song was about though, lyrically?
Well, I actually was, you know, usually like how I do. I don't pay attention too much to the lyrics. But then he was talking about dying alone, obviously. I heard that multiple times. And then at the end, it was weird because all I could think of was Jesus.
Really?
Yeah. I like that Jesus, there's nothing in the shadows and you will be the one to die alone. Forgive me when I fall and I will be the one to die alone. Yeah, it was like Jesus for every broken faith, for everyone that's died inside me. Like, I felt like it was like Jesus was dying alone for all of us. But I don't think that that's where they were going with it. That's just what happened in my mind.
I see what you're saying.
So I'd have to read more of the lyrics to know.
Deuteronomy 28, which is like one of the most metal passages in all of Scripture.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous.
It's if people understood, like, if they really knew how gangster.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like, I think that they're like, people become like nihilists for different reasons, but I think that some people they want to just be miserable. And so they're like, this is the most miserable thing I can come up with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's the case for everybody, but I do think that's the case for some people. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, but I feel like you haven't read the Bible because there's a lot of stuff in there that could be really like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a curse for you, and there's a curse for you.
Oh, yeah. Facts. But so Deuteronomy 28 has probably like one of the grimiest recountings of a curse I've ever heard in my life. It says, verse 66, your life shall hang in doubt before you. Night and day you shall be in dread and have no assurance for your life.
Oh my gosh. So
it's lyrically when he says, every day I curse the sunrise, it made me think of that passage. And there's another passage in Isaiah where he says, like, when it's daytime, you'll wish it was night. And when it's nighttime, you'll wish it was the day. Like, that to me is like the ultimate, like, you are because there's some people that love the night, like me. Like, I'm a completely nocturnal creature. Like, if I could make it so that there was never another sunrise again, I would do it. I would push that button. I absolutely would.
Why would you do that? I thought you loved me.
I do love you, but I love the darkness more. You think darkness is your ally?
Wow. That was actually a really hurtful thing.
I was born in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No.
But you would adjust.
No, I don't like the dark all the time.
You'd adjust.
No,
yeah.
no. I've adjusted my entire schedule to match yours because before I was like 10 o'clock, I was in bed. That was it.
Yeah, I know you were corny.
Like,
well, there were a lot of times though that you would text me at like very, very late. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's because I couldn't sleep good, so I'd wake up.
Yeah, you're like, oh, Vincent will be around. Mm-hmm. Screw him. Who cares if he,
No, I knew you were up all night.
Yeah, I was up all night. I was up. Normally, most of the time, I was like, oh gosh, Soraya again.
That's
what
such a lie. You liked the questions.
I'm like,
that
do you have a Bible question?
Yeah, it was always a Bible question,
Oh,
and
shocking.
you liked
You've
it.
got a Bible question. Isn't
You
that
liked
something?
it.
Isn't that something?
Oh, please.
That's all I was good for, ladies and gents.
That's untrue.
I was a giant idea machine.
Oh, that is true. But anyway, I cannot believe you pushed the button on my sunrises.
Oh, 100,000%. You could go on your world and have your
Honest to goodness, as much as I thought that you loved me 10 minutes ago, I literally have a different perspective now. Honest to goodness.
Well, good.
It's a lot less.
Good.
Because I can't believe that you would just disintegrate something that's that important to me.
Well, I said it
my
in the
mental
song.
well-being.
I said it in the song. Same with the wife. Born in the dark like Bane in the night.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you'd get rid of all my sunrises.
No, you were born in the dark. You just don't know it yet. Okay, you should try moon tanning. It's really calming. I don't know what moon tanning is, but that's interesting.
I bet that is extremely calming.
The tide has come to claim its own. It's the end and I'm drowning. Is it too late for me to run? It hates me. It mocks me. And every day I curse the sunrise. It looks like I remember. I think he left Killswitch Engage because he had there was some drug issues.
Oh,
right. So when he says like it hates me, it mocks me, I'm assuming he's talking about his addiction issues. Because I can imagine that you would feel like it's an enemy, right, that you're trying to overcome that hates you and then mocks you because you can't beat it. Also, Nocturnal Introverts is a good band name. Nocturnal Anything is a good name for anything. Yep. I can't believe I haven't come up with anything.
Yeah.
I'll probably name this most recent song something with Nocturne in it or whatever. There's nothing in the shadows, and you'll be the one to die alone. Forgive me when I fall, and I will be the one to die alone. So that phrase, there's nothing in the shadows, that sounded to me like what a parent would say to a kid who's terrified. There's nothing there. So it's like you have this enemy that you're trying to fight, but it's invisible. People are going to say it's nothing there. So I'm assuming that he feels that way as a person who's an addicted person to whatever chemical it is. People who are not under the control of that invisible force, to them it just seems like, we'll just stop doing it. And you're like, well, it's a monster, it's killing me. And then they're like, no, there's nothing really. You just don't love us enough or whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's the shit that I would say to if you were addicted to something and then whatever, that's the shit that I would say. And I think that as a brute fact in itself, it's probably mathematically true, but that doesn't negate the fact that people who are fighting addiction, how they came to be addicted, to me is not really relevant. It is to a lot of people. Because I was listening to the sermon one time and it was
I'm surprised it's not. Like every single question, you always want to know the why. Why is that not significant to you?
Oh, well, I'm saying it's significant to me because I always want to know that stuff. But to a lot of people, especially the people who are in the middle of it, who are loving someone who's battling addiction, they've been lied to, they've been deceived, they've been, cheated out of their money, blah, 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 blah. So that resentment makes it very difficult to say, yeah, there's this invisible thing that's really fucking you up. All they're seeing is the after effects of being ravaged by the monster. They're not actually seeing, they don't know what it's like to fight that monster because the monster is invisible. Right. So there's nothing in the shadows. And you'll be the one to die alone. Basically saying, there's nothing wrong with you as that you can't overcome. You're doing it. So I'm going to leave now. I've had enough of you. So that's why he says, forgive me when I fall and I'll be the one to die alone. Somebody's going to die alone in this situation. So it looks to be like what he's saying is the only way for that person to be healthy is if they're no longer together. Because either way, the person ends up alone, right?
Yep.
Whether it's the accusatory first phrase, which is, hey, there's nothing in the shadows, you're going to die alone. Or even if it's a repentant second phrase, forgive me when I fall and I'll be the one to die alone. Either way, he's getting left alone because it looks like he's dealing with this addiction problem.
Wow. Okay.
So
when you said the nothing in the shadows,
like
it reminded me when we went on our walk tonight, and all of a sudden it started getting darker.
Yep.
And as soon as it hit a certain level of darkness, Orion kept like looking. He's our 2-year-old. He kept looking up at the woods, and then he jumped into my arms, and he did not. He was in my arms, just staring straight at the woods, like trying to see, is something coming over that ridge?
Yeah, Amy's saying that that I'm echoey, but I don't know. We continue. Yeah, and he was scared to death when he saw that shit. Mm-hmm. He was terrified. So, like, I understand that. Hold on, guys. I'm taking a 2-second little.
That's sad. That's a tough thing.
See, I don't know what she's talking about because, like, I'm listening to it right now. There's no echo. Okay. But anyway, go ahead.
For every broken faith, for everything that's died inside me. Like, we've talked about this before. It's such a two-sided thing. So when you're talking about addiction, you have the throes of addiction that person is in. And like you said, there's a chemical, a dependency that they have. Yeah. But at the same time, there's also an emotional one. And maybe even in some ways a spiritual one. I've heard of people saying, when I take this or that thing, like that's when I pray the most. That's when you're kind of more open for spirituality. So in one sense, the drug functions as like this holistic thing for the person, but it's literally destroying them.
Yep.
Depending on what substance it is. So you have this completely dependent person that really, really needs this substance, and it's such a necessary part of their existence.
Some of them die.
Right.
People die trying to
come off it. If they detox without being in a safe location with the right help.
Yeah.
So, it's a really tough place to be. And like you said, like sometimes situationally, it will lead you into it because something has been so bad. And so you're looking for that relief and whatever. And so they get hooked on it. But I think that it's also super painful for the family who has to, that friend of ours that is now doing absolutely wonderfully. She posted like before and after pictures. And she's unrecognizable. She looks like an old lady.
You see the one where she had just given
holding
birth?
The baby, yeah.
Oh my god.
She looked like an old woman.
Half dead.
And she looked almost dead. And now she's taken the path to make her life better and to get rid of all that stuff and to get her kids back.
I've never been so happy to see somebody overweight.
Oh, I know.
Never.
I know.
I'll take it.
I know.
7 days. And you know what's funny? She kind of knows she is, and she's proud of it.
Yeah.
Because the heroin just made her a stick.
Yeah.
So she's happy about it. And it's like, it's just one of those things. And it's like, whoa, we had a part in like.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they were, the doctors were saying, get ready to bury this girl. She's dead.
It's a complete miracle that she was
R.I.P.s. RIPs on the Facebook, and it was pretty hard. And I just basically said, there were a couple girls and stuff, and I said we sent the girls to the hospital. I said go over there and pray over her, and I wasn't telling my mentality because like whenever we tell this story, like I want people to be clear. Like for me, when I said go pray over her, it was like 90% last rites and 10% maybe God will do something. Mm-hmm. I didn't have much faith because she had been with us and she would like phase in and out of church and stuff. And then she was caught up in the life, man. There's a street walking, drugs, all that jazz. I was pretty certain that we were going to lose her. So I sent the girls down. I was like, just pray for her and whatever. And obviously I put on a good face because, I was a leader or whatever. I was like, God can do anything, blah, blah, blah.
Do you remember why I didn't go?
What happened? You didn't think that it would...
You didn't have
enough...
I'm pretty sure I had no faith on that situation.
You had no faith whatsoever.
I was like, that is over.
You prayed over that girl's tooth and that...
Yeah, I know. But I didn't believe it then either. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I didn't believe God was going to fix her tooth. But she wanted me to do something about it, and I didn't have the money to fix her tooth.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let me pray over it. And it was like one of those things where I'm like, I had no faith about it. I was like, there's no way that God's going to like care about this woman's tooth. Like, not that God wouldn't care about it, because he does, but more like he's going to stop everything because I prayed and this woman needs this. Like there's so much more significant stuff. I think I was just having probably like just a bad time, personally. And so I just didn't think, I don't know, I just didn't believe it.
Well, it's hard. You've got a professional. I mean, these doctors, they go to school for years and years and years. So,
And I prayed over her tooth, and then the next time she saw me, she came up, she was hugging me, she's like, my tooth is healed. I couldn't even believe it. Yeah. Then I still didn't believe it, because I'm like, yeah, I know how tooth things are. Like, sometimes, like, they'll feel better for a while, and then all of a sudden, they'll go back with a vengeance. So I literally kept asking her every time I saw her, because I was convinced she was going to tell me, oh yeah, it's been killing me. But she never did.
No, she was really good after that.
Yeah, it was.
Which is crazy, because those toothaches are 99%, no of the time it's bacterial. And if you don't address it, it gets worse. It doesn't get better. I know that from personal experience. So yeah, but her story, I was like, when we were driving, because they were giving us updates, and I was thinking, okay, what am I going to say at her funeral? What am I going to tell people? Because those were side conversations, because I was pretty sure, but alhamdulillah, she made
Incredible.
it. Shout out to the big homie Jesus. But
Yeah.
that was a pretty dramatic one. That one was pretty dramatic.
Yeah. And there was like a lot of those different types of situations, but you understand. So there's what's happening with the addict, and then there's what's happening with the family of the addict. And as painful as it is sometimes I think that the reason, like, it looks on the surface that they're tired of being hurt. Like, okay, you've lied to them, you stole from them and stuff. And I think that does affect the family. But I think the bigger issue is that it's so fucking painful for the family to watch you just dwindle down to skin and bones, and to see all of that hope that they had for you just gone, and to think this could kill them, and they don't know if tonight you're gonna die and tomorrow they'll never see you again, and living in that day out, day in, seeing it's just so painful. And so they have to kind of separate from the situation, because put it out of their sight, put it out of their sight. By that I mean put you out of their sight, because it's so painful for them.
Yeah, the thing for me, there's this movie, I'm not going to mention the title of the movie, but it's basically this father who's got a son that's heavily addicted. I won't even watch that movie, because I can't even bear to think that kid might not make it by the end of the movie. I just couldn't do it. So I'm not even going to watch that movie. Like, I cannot imagine if one of my kids was addicted to a sub, because it's like you're watching people that you love the most, who you would protect, but you cannot apply any violence toward the situation. Mm-hmm. And so
yeah,
to be in a situation like there was a situation a couple weeks ago, but it's almost like I'm at home in those situations, because like, oh, we'll just apply some violence, this will solve the problem. Violence will definitely solve this particular situation. But when it's an enemy that's destroying your child or somebody that you love, and you just have to watch it, I can't imagine it. There's just a lot of things where the Bible says, lead us not into temptation. Like, there's certain types of like negative, bad things that can happen that I handle pretty well. But anything have to do with the kids or you, I'm horrible at. Horrible. Mm-hmm. And it's a very strange feeling, because it's like really some of the first times where I'm like, I have a weakness, because I spent so much of my life like cutting off all the weaknesses in my person, like consciously. But you guys are absolutely my weakness. So it's a hard thing. Everybody that's going through that, like if you're a person whose family has rejected you because of your habit, I'm sure, I'm not going to BS you. I'm certain that you've done a lot of fucked up shit and they're resentful of you, naturally speaking. But it's not all resentment. As a matter of fact, if your family's rejected you because you're an addict, I'm going to say it's mostly because it's too much. There's a story in the Bible with this woman. She's a single mom. She basically gets abandoned. She's left to herself. And she's got this baby, and it's just her. And she's in the wilderness in the Middle East, and the kid starts getting thirsty, and the kid's going to die. And the mom knows the kid's going to die, so she leaves the kid in one spot and goes someplace else and just covers her head because she can't bear to hear the death of her child. And, of course, Jesus shows up and says, hey, don't worry about it. Look, there's this well here. You're going to be okay.
See you or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or no, that's what she got from
this is the well of the God
yeah.
who sees me. Yeah, so, like, there is that element. So, like, if your parents have rejected you and things like that, definitely I'm sure there's probably some resentment, but there's the major factor at play is, as a parent, you cannot bear to see your kid die. So when parents give up that hope and they reject you, it's not because they hate you. It's because they just until you have kids, you'll never understand it. The minute you see that positive on the test, your life becomes completely consumed by this person. So, anyway, somebody needs to hear that. Yeah. Call your mom and dad. Tell them you love them, you understand, you're sorry. And
get the help that you need.
Get the help you need.
I mean, there's so many people in the chat that have said, I've lost so many friends this way. You know, there's been a lot of people. You know, Weezy D was saying he's lost a bunch. It's absolutely painful. So, yeah. Obviously, we love you, and we want to support you in the ways of getting you the help that you need. Reach out to us if you can't find the help. I'm sure that we can locate something for you. But in the meantime, just there's a lot of hotlines, there's a lot of stuff that you can call, places, people, and I'm sure that you have a lot of people that you don't think would support you, but actually would if you start taking the steps in the right direction. A lot of the times for us when we were helping people, if we did the legwork to help them, they didn't stick with it. They had to make the decision themselves, and then we could come up behind them and support them. But until they first took those first few steps themselves, it never would stick. They had to take that choice. They had to make that decision and go with it, and then we could back them up on it. So start taking those steps to head yourself in the right direction, and your entire future can be completely changed. And I don't completely agree with this, but I do think there's some truth to it. Shouldn't say sorry to your mother. You should be forgiving her. If that's about, I don't know exactly. It could be about what I said about parents. It could be whatever. But I do think if your parents have abandoned you because of your addiction, like I said, a lot of it is they just can't stand to see you die. But I do also think that you should forgive them for that, because it's still a form of abandonment. It still hurts. Yeah. Yeah. But you should forgive them for it now that you have a little bit more understanding. But when I say you should, I'm saying it in the therapeutic sense, not necessarily the moral sense, right? You should, because that holding on to that anger and that hurt is just going to put you in a situation where you're more vulnerable to the chemical. Mm-hmm. So releasing yourself from that duty to be angry and hurt at the person who hurt you actually puts you in a better position to take control of your mental health. Mm-hmm. So I do believe you should forgive your parents if they've abandoned you because they don't understand what addiction is like. But simultaneous to that, you should also recognize that even though you didn't mean to do it, you've brought some hurt to your parents too, mm-hmm. right? So like it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. But I think forgiveness, you know, the older you get, the more you realize how vital forgiveness is. And yep. I don't care if you're a Christian or a theist or a nihilist. It doesn't matter. If you want to be miserable on this planet, bro, just hold on to as much hurt and pain as you possibly mm-hmm. can, because there will be no shortage of it. There's no shortage. It's funny because of hurtful, painful things. When there's a situation that feels like it's outside of your control and someone has hurt you, you feel this sort of weakness, and so you want to be stronger than that weakness.
Yep.
And for some reason, feeling anger or hatred toward that person and holding on to that grudge makes you feel more powerful in the situation and makes you feel more protected from it happening again. But you walk around like that all the time, and you don't even realize how exhausting it is to be in that state continuously. And so you think that you're in the highest and strongest spot by being like that. But when you can come to the point where you can just recognize that we're kind of all the same, in that none of us are perfect. All of us have things that have made us. We've hurt people and people have hurt us, and we're kind of all in the same place. And we have different things that we do to other people, and they have different things that they do to us. But all around, that's how we are to each other. We hurt and we are hurt. And so when you can say, you know what, I too have done my fair share. And then you can kind of like look at the person in a different light. Like the things that they do, maybe you can understand it a little bit more to say, you know, where did they come from, or why did they choose to hurt you in that way? And then it can kind of help you to find a way to forgive them. And when you can forgive someone and instead love them instead of hate them, it gives you friggin' wings. Now you're not walking around trying to find your strength by muscling up and being angry through a situation. You're just soaring over the stuff. It totally lightens you, and it's totally different. And then you can find joy in smaller things. And when you can make that switch and become the type of person that can just forgive people and say, you know what, doesn't mean that you're unwise and you keep putting yourself in a situation to be hurt. You move yourself from that situation, but you say, I'm going to forgive them and I'm letting that go, because otherwise it is going to control your whole life, and it will send a vein of bitterness through everything. So, you know, my mother used to tell this story where she was like, if somebody made brownies, would you eat the brownies? And then everybody's like, of course I would. And then what if you say to them, I just put a little bit of kitty litter in that batter mixture. Are you going to eat it? And everybody's like, no, I'm not going to eat it. And she's like, yeah, but it's just a little smidge, just a teeny tiny little bit. Like, and of course nobody wants to eat it because it's still nasty kitty litter. And the idea is that even though something is so teeny tiny small, if it has the capability of contamination on a grand scale, you should be wanting to get away from it. And that's what bitterness is. It's one of those things where it's a little teeny tiny thing that starts out small, but that starts getting bigger and it contaminates a lot. So, you know, the path to joy, the path to happiness, and being able to be content and enjoy the people around you is to let go of things. And again, like we said, don't stay in a bad situation and just keep forgiving and getting abused. Get out of the situation, but at the same time, learn to forgive the people around you, so it's better for them and it's better for you.
Yeah. And AKJ says, I've got a friend who's a heavy drinker, pill popping heavy. At this point, he doesn't care. He's got Narcan in the kitchen, his room, and the bathroom. The last time I talked to him, he said all he's doing is preparing to die.
Jeez.
And he's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And you can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. Mm-hmm. So I you know, people make fun of this, but I'm not against the intervention thing, man. Like, I would do it if it was going on with one of the kids.
Yeah.
You know, I would throw everything at the wall, but you just have to understand, like, you can throw everything at the wall, but, you know, ultimately people make decisions for themselves, bro, you know? But the best... And so one of the things that you can do, like, because a lot of us are, like, trying to be good friends or good dads or good brothers, good sisters, good moms. And obviously I'm a Christian, so I'm going to say everything from a Christian worldview. There's only one savior in my worldview, and that's Jesus. I cannot save anyone. So once that burden is off of me, the burden's off of me, I'm not the savior of anyone. But my job is to love the people in front of me as hard as I can for as long as I can. That's my job. And so when I think about the people that we've lost because of addiction or because of suicide, and I think about me and I say, I couldn't do this, or why did I miss this, or whatever. You go over those things, survivor's guilt, and, you know, I still deal with it to this day. And it's something where God's kind of like, look, bro, I never told you to save those people. I told you to love those people. And so for however much time on the planet the person has, did they experience any love from you at all on this planet? And the pain that the drug was supposed to nullify, did being around me increase or decrease that? And the objective measure that I use is, did I love that person? So Amy Lee, for example, says, yeah, they forgave me my trespasses. I mean, Amy really didn't do anything. Like, she lost her temper a couple of times or whatever, but like, that's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we forgave you, sis, but I mean, honestly, like, that's just a, you know what I'm saying? That's like a normal day, right? And so, like, when a person does something like that and you're able to forgive them, that's a real tangible, oh, this person loves me because I violated something or whatever, but they didn't throw me away. Like, I'm still here. Like, oh, and it's like, okay, that's my job. And that's your job to your friend, AK. Like, you're not supposed to save them. That's not your job. Your job is to love them. So you love them as hard as you can for as long as you can. And, you know, we'll pray for God. We'll pray for God to intervene. And, you know, do whatever you can at the human level, call an intervention. But ultimately, his decision is his decision. And if he dies, you know what, bro? This is another thing that happened to me. Lord said to me one time, because I was upset about people who've died or people who've killed themselves and woulda, coulda, shoulda, blah, 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 you know, that whole nine. And the Lord said to me, well, how do you know that they didn't stay alive a year longer because you were in their life? Right? So that's one way of looking at it. Oh, I failed my friend, I failed my son, I failed whoever. It's like, okay, well, what's your job? To save them? No, your job was to love them. Did you do that? Yes. Okay, well, how do you know that they're not around a year longer just because on the strength of your love to them? So it just depends on what side of the street you're looking at, right? You can look at it as, I failed or I wasn't a good enough friend or whatever, or you can look at it as, holy shit, and this is going to be a little bit crazy, but they were lucky I was in their life. And you're not going to say it, Anthony, but that friend that you got is lucky that they have you as a friend.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're around in 5 years. Listen, bro, you don't know if you're going to be around in 5 years. You don't know if I'm going to be around in 5 years, right? But what I do know is that you and I had this experience. You shared something really deep that's going on in your life, and we're able to interact with it. And so me and you had that moment in history. It can never be taken from us. We had it, right? And it's ours. So that's how I look at it, man. You know, your friend is very, very lucky that God sent you to him. And you've been a gift to him, and you just keep loving him. And when it's all over, God's going to tell you, well done for loving that boy. All right. Didn't mean for this to be this whatever. I don't know what we would call it, but much love to all you beautiful angels out there loving these people. And if you are on the other side of that, you're not a demon. Your friends are angels, but you're not a demon. The drug is the demon. You are an image bearer of God, and you're crowned with glory and honor in your worst moments. When your face is in the gutter and your own puke, you're still one of the most amazing beings in this entire fucking universe. And I don't care if you believe it or not, it's true.
Yep.
So there's that.
Facts. Look at the album cover.
Yeah,
So there's like this creature that has the snake coming off him, kind of looks like a satanic sort of thing. This girl, looks like there's some red coming from her chest, so she probably has some sort of injury. And then here's this angel behind her, and he looks full of wrath toward this being that's trying to. So it kind of fits that whole like drug situation or whatever. But anyway, I really enjoy the song. He's a very good singer. It's interesting because of the topic that it brought up, because of the way that the review went, it almost seems like one of the ones that I don't even want to put a number on.
Silent count.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to silent count it because it got so meaningful. You can't put a number on it, but I really did like the sound of it as well. Yeah.
And so I agree. It's a silent count. And I'm pray for Anthony's friend, and you guys can piggyback off that if you want. We're Christians. It is what it is. Jesus, thank you so much for Anthony and his friend, God. And God, I pray that you protect Anthony's heart and his mind and everybody who loves somebody who's addicted. God, I just thank you for putting them in the lives of those people. And God, I pray that you would just give them the strength to love those people longer and harder, and that you would work some miracles. But if you don't, God, we trust in your goodness. But I pray that whether or not people believe in you, God, if they lose a friend that way, that you would comfort them and that they would feel your pride at them for being such good friends to people in so much pain. God, I thank you that there's people like Anthony in the world that have friends that are hurt, and that you would not leave that boy alone without at least one friend that loves him. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for being my friend, Jesus.
And God,
Amen.
My turn. And God, I just pray for all of our friends that from this video are going to reach out and get the help that they need. I pray that when they're on their journey, that you would give them strength and wisdom. And I pray that you would be with them, God, and just help them not to wait, but exactly when they see this, for them to act and start looking up help right now. In precious name, amen.
Amen. We love you guys. Vin out.
Sori out.
Down.